Beautiful people, beautiful people, beautiful people. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna ask someone. Can you hold this? It's already on. I just wanna. Yeah, you can. Yeah, thank you. All right, guys. Happy Saturday. Thank you for coming. We've been here 2.5 months. Give it up for everybody been here for 2.5 months. A lot of stuff been going on in the last 2.5 months. Yes or yes? And guess what? It's all good. Everything happens for a reason. Yes or yes? Exactly. I'll give you a little bit of a personal development, and then I'll give you a little story. Then we have a few speakers coming up. Matthew. After we're gonna have two amazing young ladies sharing their heart. Then we're gonna have Chris, and then we're gonna have Kim. I haven't seen Kim, so if she can come up, she's gonna speak later. If you also want to share something, please come to me after I do my part, and then I'll see if I can get you in the lineup. A little bit of personal development. Anything that happens in our life, we get to choose to put a label on it. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Every single moment of your life, you're making a choice, whether you realize it or not. You're making a choice with a certain action, you're making a certain choice with not taking certain action. You're taking a choice to take responsibility for your actions afterwards or the lack of your actions afterwards. Yes or yes?
Yes.
So, a little bit of the origin story. Obviously, people that have been following understand Fearless Ontario is no longer represented here today, and that's okay, and that's totally fine. Give you the origin story. We were approached as a regional group, myself, Chris, Kelly, Lamont, with a proposal to create a platform for the movement that can unify people with this movement, that can create a real political change, or at least create a movement that can create a real political change. And this is what we've been told to, that we're going to provide you a platform that we're going to create together, and then we're going to give it to you completely. It will be your platform to run with. We're just going to give you a little bit of opportunity, some resources, whatever, and then you can spring from that platform and you can carry on. Unfortunately, that was not the case as of last week. I was designated as the leader of the Fearless movement. I take that responsibility not lightly. I take it with a huge acknowledgement, appreciation, and responsibility for everything that happens under that movement. Thank you. Some of you know the sacrifices that I personally had to make to be here every single Saturday, and I cannot talk about it, so we're not going to talk about it. But that's the fact, that I really put my whole life on the line, and obviously the line is the movement that we're going to talk a little bit after, but it's funny how everything's connected, as long as you choose to look at it that way. Remember, it's all about the choice. So I put this tattoo on my hand about 1.5 years ago, and this message was created in my head probably over the last 3-4 years through the personal development that I made. I've been going through, and I shared to you a little bit of the idea behind this. It's always a choice. So for me, this is my personal reminder that every single moment of my life, no matter what's taking place, I get to choose for it to be anything that I want. And one more thing about personal development that I want to share with you guys is anything that happens, we get to choose to put a label. And we can label it either bad, or we can label it either good. And the label happens most of the time for most of the people based on the immediate emotional reaction that you get from that event. That's usually how you label things. It's almost like it's a reflex that we get in our head on subconscious level. We get a feeling, we don't feel good about it. Most of the time it's past drama that gets triggered, and we project our past into the future. You know, and the best way to think about that is when you try to move forward in life, and forward is that way, but you're going this way. Okay? This is what you do when you base your life on a past. That everything that happens to you, you try to link it to the past unfortunate experiences that happened to you. You literally walking forward with your back. You don't even see where you're going. No wonder you tremble and then fall on everything that happens there. Like, you're not even looking that way. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want you to forget about the past. Your past is probably the most crucial and influential piece of your life, because every single thing that happened to you until this moment made you who you are today. Every single thing that happened to every one of you made you who you are today. Now, I'll give you a simple exercise to think about it. Let's say you have a deck of cards. Okay, how many cards in the deck? 52. Let's say that deck of cards represents over 7 billion lives right now in the world, with everything that attached to that life. Their circumstances, their life experiences, anything, their physical appearance, and anything else that might go on with physical life. That deck of cards represents the whole potential of people currently living on this earth. And you have one card out of that deck, and that represents who you are right now. Now, this is an exercise that you don't have to answer to me, just answer in your head, and maybe even take some time to think about it. Would you be willing to take that deck of cards that represents everything who you are, and put it back in the deck, and take another card out, knowing clearly that that other card can be anything else on this earth right now, any life on this earth right now? I'll give you a moment to think about it, because I actually want to have it as a group exercise. And don't feel bad if you don't want to answer, but for the people that want to share their answer, and if you don't want to change your card, and you want to keep the card which represents your life, who you are right now, you want to hold on to the card, please raise your hand. And don't feel bad if you're not. I want to make sure this is a fair exercise. Some people still think about it, and that's totally okay. But please look around you, thinking, yes, question, sure. So the question was, is that a moment in time? It's just a hypothetical exercise that gives you an opportunity, if you want to change who you are. On all the levels. Everything that's about you. Your physical appearance, your ethnicity, your background, your family circumstances, your workplace, anything else. With anyone, and I don't want anyone to think that. I just want for people to see the people that don't want to change their circumstances right now, because they know what they have is important and what they have is good. A label again, going back to, right? So think about this, that anyone can understand that based on your label, that's how your perception on what's going on is affected. It's called observer effect from quantum physics, not to get too technical with everybody. But by you looking at the certain things and having a certain perception about what you're looking at and project your perception on it, you actually change the outcome of what just took place at the physical level and more importantly on emotional level. So every single moment of your life, you get to choose to put a label on what's taking place. And I'll give you another option, to choose not put any label at all. No label at all. You know why? Because your monkey brain is so tricky. As soon as you put a good label on it, now you have all the expectations that comes along with a good label. And guess what? When those things don't happen, what do you have? Disappointment. Disappointment. Because your expectations were not met. How many people can relate to what I just said? Yes or yes? Right? So, where am I going with all this, huh? Give me 1 second. So, by choosing, not putting any label on it, good or bad, you creating endless opportunities for your life. Endless, unlimited, without any label. You get to choose for your life to be anything you want, any moment of your life, no matter the circumstance. Yes or yes? Yes! So, quickly going back to the origin story, right? So I can tie it up all together, I think. 1 second.
Digressing again, huh?
By the way, I highly recommend everybody taking their shoes off if you haven't already. This is called grounding. This is called grounding. It actually has tremendous health benefits to boost your immune system. So then you have a strong immune system, you can fight any virus that comes your way. What a crazy idea! If only somebody would actually talk about it on a freaking TV! Like, give me a freaking break! We have a healthy immune system. Humanity survived millennia without pharmaceutical companies. I can't even say that word, like, doesn't even come out of my mouth. Guess who's not a freaking essential? Pharmaceutical companies. You know why? Because we're not a part of the freaking nature. You know who's part of nature? We are. You know who's part of nature? Vitamin C. You know what's part of nature is zinc. You know what's part of nature is vitamin D. Guess what happens if you consume all those things on a daily basis? Healthy immune system, yes or yes? Give a big round of applause for immune system. It's been heavily unrepresented by so-called experts that we're all supposed to listen to. Give me a freaking break. We have some children here, so I'll keep it PG-13, guys. But enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. My goodness. All right, so this is what I sent to the leadership group chart as I was leaving Fearless Ontario. For me to complete, I need to express a few points. Number one, in nature, and since we are part of nature, it's vital for own survival to understand and always focus on there is no black and white.
Nope.
If you guys didn't know, and that's fine, in nature, black and white doesn't exist. It's always a shade of the black and white. This is so important that people don't get, and that's why they get so confrontational and so opinionated, thinking there's only one way or the highway. Guess what? I'll take the highway all the way. Number two, integrity and personal responsibility for anything that happens around you are vital for workability in any relationships.
Here, here.
Thank you. Number three, constant improvement of communication skills and overall personal development is the only way you lead others. Stay healthy, my friends. Stay healthy. So, quickly to say, and I'll bring other speakers, and then I'll be the MC, so I'll do the opening and the closing of speeches today. But the reason why I'm wearing Ottawa shirt is actually two reasons why I'm wearing Ottawa shirt. Number one, this was the shirt that I wore at the very first protest that I attended. This was a statement that I made when I didn't have Hugs of a Mask just yet. That's why I'm wearing this shirt today and not Hugs of a Mask. And for people that don't know or maybe brand new, Hugs of a Mask was the initiative that I started and created personally. Okay? And I don't say it for the fact for me to hold the ownership of it, just to make clear for everyone so there's no confusions. Now, important point to me, this is everyone's initiative. Everyone's initiative. You know why? Because I'm not fighting against anyone here or who's not even here. We're only fighting against oppression and tyranny. And we need all the resources available and possible to fight the oppression, tyranny, and fear.
This is our house.
This is spiritual war, above all. Above all. So all the spiritual warriors are rising, we're all uniting, and humanity will prevail. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Immunity is essential. Exactly. So the reason why I'm wearing this shirt is I was here with the shirt on the first protest, and the statement was that we're fighting the oppression and tyranny and corruption in Ottawa. That's why I was wearing this shirt.
Hey, time out. Are you a Leafs fan?
I was just going into this. Now, I don't play hockey, even though I'm Russian, and even from Kazakhstan, people, what? How's that even humanly possible? Well, you get to choose, remember? Anyway, this is what comedians call a comeback, when you use a previous thing to build a joke now. Anyway, so I don't follow hockey. I love this t-shirt because it represents Ottawa, as in our main oppression comes from there. And I love this image right here. This to me is the warrior, is the defender, is the protector. And every single person here, woman, man, and child, is a warrior. No matter what your age, no matter what your background, no matter what your race, because there's only one race, and it's called human race.
Let the shirt slide, it's okay.
Right? Thank you. So I don't have to go anymore about the hockey stuff there, right? Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to just keep going on the positivity here, okay, guys? So, and then the other reason why I'm wearing the shirt, because I made a choice with everything that was unraveling this week, is I am going to Ottawa, and it will be my pleasure to represent every single person here in Ottawa on July 1st in front of the Parliament. And we have a lot of people coming together going, so please connect with everyone and figure it out. A side note, so you can really understand how important for everyone to get there, the government chose to create construction in the highway that's going into Ottawa. And the closing that main highway that's going into Ottawa starting Monday. Such an interesting coincidence, huh? Guess what that makes us to want to do? Get there 100%! Like, anything that's on Facebook that's fact-checked right now, BS. And then, like, you know, whatever else taken down and censored, we all know, we gotta see it 100%. And if it's been taken down, we're gonna message 100 people. Did you have it? Did you see it? Can you tell me what it is? Like, please, right? So, guess what happens when you tell me you're gonna close a highway somewhere that I wanna get, so I can represent the freedom, which is essential, and you're gonna make it difficult for me? I'll take the highway all the way! All right. I'm gonna bring Matthew on, and then we're gonna have two amazing young women who are warriors like no other. If you wanna get strength from people, it's the people that look the weakest at first, but the strongest inside. Because they had to choose to be that way, no matter the circumstance. On that note, I wanna bring Matthew, a dear friend. Come.
Matthew!
Thank you very much, Vlad. A personal note, that's actually very true. I represent that embodied. I cry, I get up here, I will show my deepest emotions, and it's where I draw my strength from these days. So I can say there are no truer words. That man right there, putting this movement, Hugs Over Mask, his call has saved my life. So I take Hugs Over Masks and say, hugs save lives. I represent a new growing business and foundation, and as I'm calling a true grassroots movement, one of the last silent oppressions that are actually going in these worlds is mental health and the fact that we suffer invisible illness stigmas. We are literally systematically kept down to the point where I watch it inside everywhere I go. As my message is accepted, I still actually experience it from those fully embody embracing. That is how deep this root goes, and it is the one thing that literally sees no color, race, religion, creed. It is our connected suffering, and it is being used and molded against us. I have been welcomed in. I'm, I guess, a baby organizer within the Fearless Ontario that was and has dissolved. I stand up here taking responsibility just for being part of those conversations. I took that personal responsibility myself, fighting desperately for that unity, for that core message that we are actually about. And I tell you that you have the choice, and when you make the choice, as you all are doing here today, to stand up, you have that inside. No matter what happens, where things go, what you decide, you will have that when you make those decisions for yourself and take that time. This is why I follow him blindly. Through all of that, I said, whatever your decisions are to do, Vlad, I am with you. He is a true leader, and I just want to take a quiet moment taught me so much in the short period of time I have been here. I am on day 15. I have not been home. I have not gone home, looked at the prospect of it. I am living out of my cart. At my 9th day, I was saved. I was found by the most wonderful, beautiful community I have ever met in my life. For the first time in 30 years, I have the truest sense of community finally in my heart, and that is the Afro-Indigenous Rising in Nathan Phillips Square is just so wonder about intersectionality. I don't need to speak to the movement. We all know why they are there if you look to your history. There is open welcoming from that community to come, embrace, and learn. Anonymity is the only thing left to protect those there. So stow your cameras, put it away, bring your open hearts. There is the most wonderful community that has embraced me as brother and further that saving of my life. So I have to say I am truly indebted and will respect to the end of my life and fight for that community as my own until my last given breath. Mental health, that is the one community suffering deepest what I fight for, on top of the systematic oppression that is going on. We are here to fight oppression, and I think it's important that we take those moments to recognize brothers, sisters, theys, them. I am a rose, no titles by any other name. I would be just as awesome, a Shakespeare throwout, and that is the choice I make, to do away with labels, understanding them just for understanding, and that's essentially what I fight for mental health. So I am here to continue that mission, continue that journey, and again, this is our origin story. I think, Vlad, you stole that from me. Thank you very much. But it's my thing that I am telling myself because I am up against everything. I am literally founding a foundation from the streets and data from my phone. I am going to be putting a call to help, so please, anyone that thinks of anything, I am so overwhelmed, email me, pound my email inbox if you can think of any ways to help. I need desperate help to get this movement off the ground. The community here, Hugs Over Masks, The Line, Back to Work, all the different movements here have been so wonderful at bringing me into the fold and allowing me to have this platform and this voice. So I will continue to go on. I am not going to waver no matter what it takes. And I tell you, if it puts me back in the hospital, I'll go there, recover, and come back out, because I failed a hunger strike, and you cannot keep me down. One thing I'm very happy to report Mental Health is Visible is doing, and Zoe, I'm totally sending you out there. Zoe came up to the mic on Wednesday, and there is video going viral on YouTube. Let's help it happen. So Zoe's going to be actually coming up to speak. I'm not going to say too much, but it's our voice of youth that we need to listen to. And Zoe, you've inspired me to, I didn't know what to do with the Instagram platform for Mental Health is Visible. So I'm going to turn it into stories of the community. Anyone who wants the anonymity, I am there to tell your story, your message. You can write me the letters. Anyone who wants to be visible, I'm going to use it as that expression platform, open, unadulterated, unedited. And Zoe, you inspired that. So please, thank you, thank you. Look to the youth, they will teach you everything. I want to finish up just my concern and what brings me here to walk down in some numbers and having this platform. I just want to weave a little bit of a web that isn't even getting talked about, which is death of distress, classically known as suicide. Please, everyone, do your best. I even have trouble. Let's do a retitling there, that death of distress is classically known as suicide, and we need to retitle suicide awareness as wellness awareness, because I will tell you this. Guess where I learned why I want to kill myself? From suicide awareness. Because it teaches you that you don't want to live. It's a system and that keeps cycling that mindset, instead of the fact that I am experiencing distress and I have the deepest desire to live. This is something I will never live down. It is a 2-minute process anytime I come across it. And it was just recently lockdown that turned that into an extensive process, and that's what Vlad saved me from. He literally saved my life. So, quick numbers. In Canada, 2017 is the most recent number I can find. Please, someone got something else? I'm open to numbers. I love them. I'm autistic.
2017 is the most current number for suicides, 4,157. I think that's a little underreported. So also to say Statistics Canada in their website and breakdown of suicide, they actually disclose there is discrepancies from about half the provinces. So right there is an underreporting issue that is actually suppressing what's going on. If you search current numbers, it takes you to excessive deaths, which is basically anything unplanned for. There is a certain allotted and expected based on the past year. That includes heat snaps, pandemics, floods, cold, apparently death of distress, again, suicide. Now I'm going to digress for this crowd. Remember I said pandemics? Why is that chart at -5 most weeks? Why are we tracking a negative number for excessive deaths when we're under a pandemic? Why is the COVID numbers up in congruency with all the other death reasons down? Take a look at the data and how it intersects. So 800,000 suicides per year for 2019. We know from studies it doubles, if not triples, with 1% unemployment. I will allow, with all the extra stresses for compounded math, let's give it 5 to 10 years, and 15 times 2 times 2 times 2 takes us to, are you ready? 26 billion. Yeah, take that in. Active statistics will have us at 26 billion lost in 5 to 10 years if we don't pull up. The famine's on the way. Let's digress to a real production, because I'm not going to be all the experty. I am a specialist. I am not an expert. So I'm going to digress. 5 to 10% of that production is still 1 to 2 billion. 1 to 2 billion lives in the next 5 to 10 years if we do not pull up and change the narrative on mental health, because the damage is already done, and it is that self-narrative that will save us from what has been done to us. I am calling a new curve like never ever seen before. So please, my warning is pure. I am very connected at these days. Please hear my warning. Help, help, help. We have billions of lives to save after lockdown breaks. Thank you very much. I last request anyone who wants to come over to the permanent markers, if you can sign the back of my board, that is the energy that keeps me going. Please intently leave that energy through the marker on my board and keep my spirit going. I from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Chimigwach.
Give it up for Matthew. All right, we're gonna move right along. We have amazing, beautiful spirit that's gonna speak for the second time. She spoke 2 Saturdays before. So it's my great pleasure to bring Ellie. Give it up for Ellie.
Hello. Today we are standing together for our freedoms that are slowly being taken away. We are losing our freedom of rights, our freedom of speech, our freedom to gather and to all be here today. We are being censored in so many ways. Lately, people have been having their YouTube channels and Facebook accounts completely taken down because they have shared things that were considered conspiracies, inappropriate, or misinformation. The stuff they don't want you to hear is what you should be listening to. They are deleting things for a reason because it threatens them. It risks the truth being told and people waking up, but that is exactly what we need is more open-minded people. They have pushed things too far, which has caused more people to question and open up to the truth. So everyone needs to keep sharing your opinions and making people question, even if you just plant a seed that is going to make a difference.
Yes!
Today I will be singing an original titled Free. The town has to shut house. I won't take it. They're trying to shut us down. I won't take it. Yeah, I'm gonna stand up for the crowd. We won't take it. Let's all be loud and proud to shut them down. I won't let you take away our speech. I won't let you take away our needs. 'Cause we all need to be free. They're telling us we can't speak up, but I won't take it. They think they can shut us up, but we won't take it. They think how we ain't enough, but They don't know the power we got. I won't let you take away our speech. I won't let you take away our needs. Cause we all need to be free. I won't let you take away our speech. I won't let you take away our needs. Cause we all need to be free. Cause freedom is a necessity. I won't let you take away our speech. I won't let you take away our needs. Cause we all need to be free. Don't think we're going anywhere. We got plenty time to spare. Yeah, we won't leave until we're free.
Wow, amazing. Hug, Kelly. Hugs over mask, 100%. This is what I mean by warrior. Yes or yes? Well, to continue with the same trend, and please, let's make this as an essential part, is the young generation needs the voice. Okay, they need to speak, they need to express. You think you have a lot of build-up stuff that you got to deal with? Children have a lot more. They're still trying to make a sense of this world. And guess what sense they're getting right now? You got to be fearful of every single thing around you. Like, you want to talk about psychological and physical harm that's going to cause to the next generation? Kids are our future. And guess what's our responsibility? Is to protect and support them every single moment of their life. And that's why we're here. Not even for us, for our children and children's children. Canada is the country that has all the potential to be free and healthy and beautiful place. And we're going to stand the guard of that. Freedom is essential. Freedom is essential. All right. On the net, Zoe, come up. Give it up for Zoe.
Hi, I haven't prepared a speech. That's okay. But anyways, I'm in the 8th grade. Well, finished school now. We haven't had a graduation, which has been very hard for a lot of grade 8s. This year is probably one of the worst school years ever. We had strikes before this, so I haven't had real school actually since January. And I'm kind of nervous about next year. We don't really know what's going to happen. And for a lot of the little kids, like on CBC, I heard this one mother, she wouldn't let her 3-year-old daughter play with the girl next door. So what she did was she put a glass inside their fence so they could see each other. And I was crying when I heard that. That's child abuse, and a lot of mothers or parents don't understand that yet. Like a lot of my friends, their parents don't understand that yet, and I'm really nervous for them and their kids because a lot of them, when I see them through FaceTime, and I don't really like that, but when I see them, their faces are as white as paper. Like, they don't go outside without a mask, they can't go outside with me or any other friends without their mom or their sister or anyone else. And like at the beginning, they didn't even go outside for 2 months. Wow. So I feel really for those kids and those parents' actions, they will pay for what they did to the next generation because it hurts. I don't really have a support system in Canada, and no, you guys, but I don't have any family here except for my parents, and every year we used to visit my family in Europe, but this year we can't, and it hurts because, well, I kind of miss them, but it also hurts that all these stuff are closed. Like, even the playgrounds are still, they all have the caution tape still on them. And like me and my mom and my dad, we rip it off. But at the beginning, in March, we went to visit some of my family, and we didn't do we were supposed to do the 2 weeks of quarantine, but we went outside every single day, and all of a sudden, I went to the playground, and the caution tapes were up. And me and my mom, we were sitting close to the playground, and
people started yapping at us. They got so mad just because we were sitting next to the caution tape. Like, what do you mean? It's like, isn't it city? Like, aren't we all allowed to use it? Why is it closed? Like, I don't get this. And last week, a few kids, they were younger and they wouldn't listen to their parents, so they just ran up on the playground. And,
Run up on the playground!
and their parents got so mad at them and like tried to pull them down, but you know, it didn't really work out. But now there are a lot of communities coming together. Like, I live Davisville and Young, and there's a lot of people from the Indian community. They come out to the park and they play cricket, and all the kids play together. It's a huge like community, and I think we all should do that. We all need a little bit of community. So, yeah. I don't really have anything else to say, so thank you.
Amazing, Zoe. Give it up. So powerful. Well, it's my great pleasure to bring my brother from another mother, as we say. Yes or yes? Chris Guy, everybody!
Hey, everybody! I'm sorry, I'm just a little extra excited today. We started this thing, we started trying to make this more like a celebration, a festival, a party. Why? We want to bring the energy level up. We want to inspire people. We want positivity. But more than anything, we want everybody to remember what freedom feels like. Because that's what this is. Everybody gathering, everybody having a good time, doing their own thing, not worrying about the government, not worrying about social distancing, not worrying about a virus, not worrying, period. Imagine that, stress-free for the first time in how many months? And stress is the biggest cause of virtually every disease, every problem. So this stress relief is imperative. That's why we're pushing this party. Not because it's not a serious situation. This is the most serious situation any of us has ever experienced. But that doesn't mean you gotta roll over and play dead. That means you gotta take advantage when you can. And that's what we're doing. We wanna teach everybody. This has to be the summer of united non-compliance. It starts July 1st, when we know the mask mandates are coming. They're coming to each individual municipality. They're going to try to enforce them. They're going to try to scare you with fines. They're going to try to shame you. They're going to call you names. And you know what every single one of you is going to do? You're going to stand up proud, and you're going to take that mask, and you're going to throw it in the friggin' garbage. And when someone asks you why you're not wearing a mask, you're going to tell them, because I'm smart enough to inform myself and make my own decisions. I don't need to be told what to do. I don't need to comply. I'm not going to do something that I know is against my best interest from public pressure. I'm going to do what's for my best interest and my family's best interest, and you should too. That's what you tell these people. A lot of them won't listen. The mask, oh, I have to make a point. The mask flyer is actually working. If anyone has one of those mask flyers and you try to go into a store, as you pull it out, simply say, I have a medical condition. They will not even look at the flyer. They will not ask you any questions. They don't want to get involved. They will just let you walk in the store. So far, it has virtually 100% success rate in grocery stores anywhere. So I encourage everybody to pick up these flyers, hand them out to your friends, keep it in your pocket, and just use it like a badge of honor everywhere you go. And use it as a way so you don't have to wear that mask. Use it as a way to make sure you don't have to comply. The best way to not comply is by giving people ways to fight back. And that's what everything we're doing, every initiative we've started is to give a way to people to fight back. Hugs over masks, to inform the people. The flyers, to give you the way to fight back against the stores. Back to work, to help the businesses, which we've been helping every week. We got almost $10,000 in the legal fund. Every week more businesses are being added. Every week more businesses are calling me. Yes, they say they're opening the businesses, but this is a lull. This is a very, very strange crossroads. We're at that point where people have let their guard down. People think this is over. People think as we open up, everything's just going to go back to normal. Well, I would love that. I would love to believe that. Unfortunately, I don't believe in fairy tales. I believe in reality. And the reality is, the economic data just started trickling in this year. And guess what we found out in March? A 9% GDP reduction in March alone. Our GDP is about 1.5 trillion, so that's the equivalent of 150 billion. Gone, right off the top of the economy. Combined with a what, $300 or $400 billion deficit? These are consequences that are going to manifest. They are going to try to hide these consequences when they launch their second wave in the middle or end of October, when they would manifest. But if no one's on the streets, if no one's working, if no one can see how many people are really unemployed, if no one can see how many people are really losing their homes, living off their dwindling savings, then it's not really happening. Because they're not going to put it on TV for you to look at. You're going to have to know these people individually. So, how do we protect people? Like I said, this is the summer of united non-compliance. So, as the businesses open and we help them with their guidelines, we started a new campaign. I mentioned it briefly. It's called MAD, Mothers Against Distancing. It's a worldwide campaign, but homegrown here in Toronto. I made a Facebook group. It's not just for moms, it's for concerned parents or concerned parents to be, aka anybody. Facebook flagged the group from the very first second. I have almost 5,000 Facebook friends. I was unable to invite one person, not one. Anybody who tries to join the Facebook group gets a disclaimer that sends them to the WHO or CDC website to try and stop them from joining. Well, guess what? In 5 days, how many people do you think accepted our member invitations from other people inviting, random people inviting? 13,000 members in 5 days. 5 days. Now the website's going to be up and running, and people are going to be able to start joining up over there, joining the mailing list, and we're going to be sending them exclusive content. On next Tuesday, we are starting the production of a brand new web series, designed, directed by myself. It's going to be called Mad World. We got a TV studio downtown giving us full access, and we're going to be filming webisodes every couple weeks. These webisodes are going to be combinations of real people's stories, their horror stories of what social distancing has done to them and their family. Real stories, real people, not isolated situations. These are vastly happening everywhere around the world, but they're being kept under the rug. The first episode is going to be called Introduction to Trauma, and when you watch it, you will see why. The follow-up episodes, we're going to be interviewing child care, health care professionals from all different fields. And we're going to be getting them to talk about the irreparable harm that social distancing is going to have on our children, especially in a school setting. Especially. Hitler said, I know everybody doesn't like Hitler, but he said some things that should resonate with you. He said, give me your children for 6 years, and I'll own them for life.
That's Lenin! It's not Hitler, that's Lenin, bro.
Oh, was it Lenin? I'm sorry. Sorry, my bad, my bad. My bad. Communism in general goes by that dictate. Thank you for the correction. The point is, if you give them your children from kindergarten to grade 12, you're giving them over a decade to absolutely destroy your children from the inside out, to absolutely mold them into what they want, into what you do not want. They want to be able to control them. They want them not to be able to think for themselves. They want them to be afraid of everything. So, the number one priority for the summer is united non-compliance. We're not going to wear a mask. We're not going to force businesses to adhere to social distancing guidelines that makes their operation impossible to sustain. We're not going to allow our children to go back to schools that are trauma-inflicting centers. We are going to stand up, we are going to say no, and we're going to do it as one voice. Last week, we had division amongst our own ranks from the inside. Absolutely unfathomable. We spent the last 9 weeks, every week, battling the mainstream media narrative of racism, of isolationism, etc. And all we've done for the last 9 weeks is to bring as many people together under one umbrella with one voice as possible. And then last week I come here and see us splintered into 2 groups. No way. I wasn't going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. We're going to unite. We're going to be stronger than ever. And we're going to keep adding more people to the cause. The powers that be love the phrase, never let a good crisis go to waste. And what that means is, if they try to tell you, we're going to give you mandatory vaccines on any given day, you're all going to say, no thank you. But if it's during a pandemic and they got you terrified and people are dropping dead and then they tell you they're going to do mandatory vaccine, that crisis gave them the opportunity. Just like the crisis gave them the opportunity to close your business, to force you to wear masks, to take a tracking app, all the rest of the stuff they're doing. They're making sure they're not letting this crisis go to waste. So why don't we do the same thing? Why don't we flip the script? Why don't we, through united non-compliance, not let this crisis go to waste? Let's show them that when they try to push us, we don't just stand up and say no. We push back twice as hard. Because guess what? When you're fighting for what you believe in, for someone fighting to try to control you, you are 10 times stronger than they are, individually, and we outnumber them. They are nothing but hired henchmen and puppets. If you look carefully on TV, I think you can even see someone's hand up Trudeau's back, making his lips move. And Doug Ford wouldn't be able to tell you something unless he was reading it from a teleprompter. These people are not intelligent. These people are not in a position to tell you how to live your life, tell you what's best for your family. Like, look at them. Trudeau couldn't even keep his job as a drama teacher. If his daddy wasn't prime minister, he wouldn't even be known. So he's a nobody. He's a nothing. And that's what we have to let these people know. They are not our masters. They are our employees. That's it. They work for us. So when these people come and try to tell you, you have no choice but to do what we say, never let that crisis go to waste. Stand up and push back harder. When they tell you, wear the mask, throw it at them. When they tell you, take the tracking app, just laugh in their face. When they tell you, your kids are going to be in that school, simply don't bring them. What are they going to do about it? They're going to threaten you? They're going to tell millions and millions of people we're going to come take your kids and force them into school? Good luck with that. You couldn't even convince women to cut their friggin' hair. Everything they're doing is a paper tiger. We see people getting compliant now because we have summertime. This is the time where we have to take advantage. I want everybody out and about. I want everybody living normal. Get back to normal. Back to normal. Get that through everybody's head. No new normal, back to normal. We want our freedoms back. We want our rights back. We want our businesses open. And we want our children safe. But not safe from the virus, safe from them. And we will have it. Our children are the future. There's no other way to describe the children than that. It's literally what it is. The children are the future. If the children are compromised, the future is compromised. It's that simple. So we must protect our children. We cannot allow peer pressure, government pressure, or any other pressure force you to make a decision that's not in the very best interest of your child and your child alone. Not that person's child, not that person's child, your child. This whole idea that the collective is responsible for your children is complete bull, straight out of the communist dictator book. We are not a community raising each other's children. We are responsible for ourselves. We are responsible for our own actions, and we are responsible for our children. And we need to protect them. I can't say that enough. And they're coming for your children. They want your children's hearts, minds, their very souls. They want that, take that innocence, and they want to use it to mold your children into something you won't even recognize. Something that would call the government and report on their family if you're talking about the wrong subject at dinner. This is the kind of society they want to foster on you. But they can't do it if you say no. So once again, this is the summer of united non-compliance. And that's why we're throwing parties. That's why we have DJs. 'Cause when you're not afraid, you're ready to have fun. And you're not worried about the consequences of the fun, because there are no consequences. The consequences are made up. The consequences are there to frighten you, to prevent you from doing what you want to do. But there are no consequences. Everybody needs to wake up. Everybody needs to wake everybody else up. MAD is going to help. When we make that video on Tuesday and it gets promoted all over social media and we try to get millions and millions of people to see it, do you really believe that that's not going to have effect on public policy? Of course it is. That's the only way you can affect public policy. You're not going to do it with an inside political organization like we tried. Because as I saw within a few weeks, every political organization runs that organization based on what's best for their own political interests. And that does not run parallel to what's best for this movement, what's best for freedom. So I became aware. I made a mistake. I trusted them. I was a little bit naive. But I realized the only way we win, the only way we influence is mass awakening, a mass awareness. Thank you. And massive non-compliance. And that's what MAD's about. It's not just about informing. It's not about making people aware. It's not just about educating. It's about literally making them mad. Why? When you're mad, you're not afraid. When you're mad, you will act. When you're mad, you will say no. That's what this is about. To give everybody the information they need to get angry, to get mad. You need to be upset. If you're not upset, there is something wrong with you. If the idea of losing your freedom doesn't bother you, give your head a shake. If the idea of your children getting traumatized and totally subverting your parental authority doesn't bother you, there is something wrong with you. Everybody wants us to think there's something wrong with everybody here because we're worried about our freedom, we're worried about our children, we're worried about our country. What else is there to worry about? Does anyone give me an answer of anything that's more important than your children, your job, your freedom, or your country in general? No, that's what we're fighting for. And that's why they're so scared of us. And that's why they try to do everything to divide us. And I'm here to say that we're going to be more united than ever before. More united than they ever thought possible. Because we have a common goal that applies to everybody. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't even matter your sexual orientation. It all applies to everyone in Canada and everybody around the world in this case. And that's why MAD is taking off like crazy. Even the stay-home crowd is joining in droves because even they know that the schools are coming for their kids. Even the most compliant and trustworthy people understand that what's happening to their children is going to be a disaster. So MAD is going to be successful. We are going to wake up millions. I need everybody's help in doing so. But I don't want anyone to think this is over. I don't want anybody to think because the sun is shining, because we're partying and we're smiling, that we're slowing down or it's petering out. No, this is the calm before the storm. That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. They want to lull everybody into submission so then they can ratchet up level 2 and put everything into the next phase. And then that new normal that they keep trying to instill in your head will almost be too far gone to stop. Thankfully, we're going to stop it before that happens. Thankfully, by September, not one mother or father here is going to put their kid into that school. Thankfully, by September, our government is going to listen to the will of the people, and they're going to reinstitute our schools without the social distancing measures. And once we remove the measures from those schools, we can do so everywhere else. And our businesses can be profitable again. Our economy can recover. Do you guys understand the fathomable consequences we're going to have if this continues? If we have a 10% GDP reduction just in March, I'm already telling you this is what's going to happen no matter what we do, even if this ended today. Within months, remember I said this, in a few months, you're going to see on every bill that you buy, anything, a COVID surcharge, AKA a new tax, but they'll call it a COVID surcharge. By 2021, you're going to have the government letting you know that they're going to be raising HST. It's only going to be 1% per year, and they're going to make it go a lot higher than it is now. And what do you think is going to happen to our public services? They're obviously going to dwindle. What's going to happen to our quality of life? It's going to go down the tubes. So what do they want to do? They're going to want to lock us down again to hide all this. And that's when the Back to Work initiative is really going to take off. When these businesses get locked down the second time, and they've already been weakened, they know it's not going to be 2 weeks. They know that 2 weeks is going to turn into 6 months. That's when we're going to see the massive non-compliance of the business sector. Because people are not going to roll over and die. People are going to stand up and fight. So we got some big battles ahead of us, people. Very big battles. But that doesn't mean that we're not supposed to enjoy ourselves. I want everybody living life like it's 2019. Go out, have fun, see your friends and family, reject everything they're putting on you. It starts July 1st with these masks. We have to stand up in one voice and say no. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Chris! Go, everybody! Amazing. All right, moving right along, I want to bring up Kim to the mic.